Okay, first, let me start off by giving a huge thank you to Mr. West Ashley, aka Pilly. Yesterday, it was incredible that Zach Crack was trending on Twitter. And, you know, all I want to say is that I really, really, really support everything related to the Release the Snyder Cut movement. I've been a part of the Release the Snyder Cut movement since the very, very beginning. I mean, when after seeing Justice League in 2017, I was so mortified that it was a welcome thing to be able to be a part of part of a movement and get to know so many awesome people. And you know, I yesterday I got into a little bit of a Twitter battle with some people, and all I did was voice my opinion. And the title of this video is Zach Crack and Differing Opinion. And I want to take a little bit of time to go through that a little bit. Number one, when I defended my friend, Mr. West Ashley, aka Pilly, I was defending him because he has a right as someone who has been a member of this movement for so long to express himself in any way that he chooses. And the term Zach Crack isn't some people obviously don't like the term Zach Crack because I think for them it hits a little bit too close to home. So they tend to just get discombobulated when they see the term and take it personally. But for me, if you've been around long enough, you know what the term means, and it's a representation of how crazy people get when it comes to Zack Snyder. The closer they get to the director, the more it gets into who they are and what they are, and it becomes everything that they're about. And honestly, it's an unhealthy way of looking at things. And personally, I'm completely against the idea of Zach Crack in terms of what it actually is. But I love the terminology and I love the way it's being utilized. Zach Crack is wonderful in that it's a good way to describe the entire situation and the way some people have taken their obsession with Zack Snyder to an entirely new level. And I want to take this moment to also address a few things. I personally am very, very proud of the movement. I'm proud of everyone who stood up for Pilly yesterday the way that I did. I'm proud of the fact that Zach Crack was trending on Twitter. I think that's wonderful. This is actually the first live YouTube video that I'm posting, and the only reason I'm doing this is to kind of get my foot dip my foot in the water and just see how it goes. I mean, as you could tell, I'm completely I'm completely losing my mind ultimately coming on here and doing a live video like this. I just wanted to address certain elements, and I feel like social media isn't necessarily the place to voice your opinions anymore. And that's another issue that I wanted to discuss today. When I go on social media and I voice my opinion about something, whether you disagree with me or not, I have a right to say how I feel about a certain situation. And if I lose followers as a result of that, that's perfectly fine. But I have a right to my opinion, just like everybody else has a right to theirs. I feel like the issue is that people no longer have the right to disagree. We're in a situation right now where you can say anything you want to say. And just because I could have been friends with you for years, and just because I said one thing that you might have disagreed with, I'm automatically blocked or unfollowed, or I'm shunned, or people are looking to get rid of me. Listen, I have absolutely no beef per se with anybody. I come on you know and do my podcast. I do my Zod Rider show, and I come on and I do the Four Nerds and on YouTube, and I enjoy doing that. And one of the reasons why I enjoy doing the Four Nerds so much is because with the Four Nerds, we've made it our mantra that it's okay to disagree. That's one thing that we have as a group the over the negativity on social media. We encourage the back and forth. We encourage people to be able to speak their minds and say what they really feel, and go back and forth and address it. I like to think about it like this. I have people in my life, lifelong friends that I value more than anything in the world, and I say to myself, okay, just imagine if things were the way they were now, the way they are now. Just imagine if things were that way back then. Nobody would have any friends whatsoever. And the reason they wouldn't have any friends is because the first time they disagree, that would be the end of it. Nobody would say anything. It would just be completely ruined before it got a chance to get started. I always think about how certain people in my life, how I met them, and the circumstances under which I met them. And I was thinking about this last night as I was trying to make sense of everything. This whole Zach crack thing has been like a monster in and of itself. It's been something that it's just kind of created its own, become its own entity. And I think it's ultimately interesting to see how friendships mean so little to people. Or let's just say this: if somebody is going to unfriend you or unfollow you or not talk to you anymore, or disassociate themselves with you just because they disagreed with your stance on something, they were never your friends to begin with. And I guess that's the main point in my rambling through this first live video on YouTube. I, people, I find it to be hilarious. I mean, at one point yesterday, I actually said, "Okay, I'm gonna write how I really feel about this situation." And at one point, I actually tweeted out, I would rather have one honest Mr. West Ashley in my life than thousands of Twitter phonies following me. And that's just the reality of the situation. People need to understand that just because you're being followed on Twitter and you have people on Twitter that you have friendly discourse with back and forth, doesn't mean that those people are truly your friends. Okay, because let's be honest. I could say anything I want to say, and just because I may disagree with you in the heat of the moment or not like a position you took, if I'm really your friend, I'm not going to use that against you and force you to think of things in my orbit. I mean, I don't mind if you disagree with me. I encourage, I think it's healthy for friends to go back and forth and have disagreements. I really do. Hello, Dr. Fate. It's good to see you. Good to see you, my friend. I think it's wonderful for people to have, healthy back and forth debate. And it's healthy, and unfortunately society as we know it isn't, it doesn't lend itself to the simple logic that disagreeing is a very healthy thing. When you disagree, it shows you're a human being. But what shows even more the beauty of humanity is the fact that if just because you disagree doesn't mean you're going to hate each other. You have the ability to talk it out. You have an ability to hash it out and to be a reasonable person. And I've never been able to understand why it's, it's gotten to the point on a societal level, on a global level, why we can't disagree anymore. I wish there was a remedy to this. Obviously, not to get political. I mean, we're in a very divided state as far as a country goes, but I mean, it's not just the country, it's not just the United States, it's not just where I'm from, it's all over the world. You disagree with me, I'm no longer your friend, and it's terrible. It's almost like the old, absolute argument from Star Wars. It's like I always remember, I remember that scene in episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, where Anakin tells Obi-Wan, either you're with me or you're against me, and Obi-Wan replies, only a Sith deals in absolutes. Absolutes. That's the key word here. Absolutes. So if I happen to disagree with you because you're saying something completely untrue and negative about a good friend of mine, if I come to his defense, I'm the bad guy, and all of a sudden I'm being treated like I'm some sort of villain because, oh, well, you don't fall in line with what we want. So because you don't fall in line with what we want and you like this guy over here, now we're going to completely disassociate ourselves with you. Well, I don't care. It doesn't bother me because, like I said earlier, if somebody unfriends you, stops talking to you, and treats you like garbage and is no longer your friend simply because you disagreed on Twitter or you disagreed with a few things back and forth or whatever, they were no longer your friend to begin with. So for me, I'm completely happy now because I see where things have gone in the Snyder Cut movement. I see how the division was formed, and it's no longer unclear to me who the good guys are and who the people that are not so good in terms of how they're seeing things, where they're at. It's never been clearer to me. And I'm happy to be in such good company of people like Mr. West Ashley and Fatal J and Nerdy in Many Ways, aka Dawson, Ryan Zeverfet, ACS Anthony, all the 4 nerds, everybody that I associate with, that I consider to be a true friend. I don't need to question whether or not they're going to be a friend of mine the next day because I may have said something that they disagreed with. Personally, I feel like in that regard, it's true what they say when people say things like, well, you only have so many true friends in your life. Not everybody is really gonna be your friend. And you see that ultimately in when you look at the way people are so easily triggered and so easily pushed away from what from people in general. And I mean, I apologize wholeheartedly for my rambling. Dr. Fate, you're in the chat, you're listening. I apologize for that. My rambling. This is the first time I've actually done a solo YouTube video. in forever. I'm just trying this out to see how this goes, as far as me being able to just come on here and vent for a few minutes. I mean, this video, if it goes viral, the headline will be, Zod Ryder venting like an idiot. But that's essentially what it is. I'm venting because of being frustrated by the fact that we as human beings are no longer allowed to have differing opinions and keep our quote unquote friends. It's insane. It's insane to me. So, let me address a few, little specifics here before I end this video and, put myself out of my, live streaming misery here. Firstly, I want to say that I'm just, again, I'm proud that Zach Crack was trending on Twitter. I think the more people that are made to be aware of what Zach Crack is and what it represents, the better. I think that's healthy for the movement. I think that's healthy for what we were trying to do, what we were trying to accomplish. I think it's good for Zack Snyder. I want Zack Snyder to be able to see this. I'm with Pilly on this. He just uploaded a video not too long ago where he talked a little bit about it and went into a little bit of details about how he felt that it would be good for Zack Snyder to see what's going on. And yes, Rogues Gallery, I agree with you completely. I think people have gone off the deep end. They're full of themselves, not just because, and honestly, I don't know if it's just because they got to meet Zack Snyder on a Zoom call or what. I don't know. I mean, this is my biggest issue. What makes those guys any better than us? We've all fought hard. And when everybody's done their part to contribute to the Snyder Cut being released, now that the movie is coming out, you would think that we would be able to be happy and be celebratory. You would think that the movement would be the movement would be huge. You would think that the movement would be even better because everybody would be united, but we're not getting that anymore. Dr. Fate, you said, what do you mean they weren't your friends to begin with? I look at it this way. If somebody is you've been supporting, so I'm just going to use, and I'm not going to, I'll just use myself as an example. Okay. I had supported literally everything the Nerd Queens had done. Okay. I supported them. I supported Justice Con. It was overwhelmingly positive. It was beautiful. I loved them. I'd supported everything that they did. I'd been following them on Twitter for years. And I believe it was the day after we had Mr. West Ashley on the Four Nerds. They unfollowed me. And they unfollowed me, I believe, because they don't like Mr. West Ashley. And they don't like the fact he's a controversial figure. He came on the show. We asked him some questions, and I think that for some reason the Nerd Queens took offense to that, and that's why they unfollowed me on Twitter. I think that they've gotten specifically to the point where they don't feel that they need at least. Maybe they don't like me for some reason. Maybe I'm too controversial for them. Maybe I've said some things that have offended them. I don't know. I want everybody to be on the same page. I want everybody to like each other. And this is my thing. Like I said, I've never had a negative thing to say about the Nerd Queens. Okay? I actually really respect and like them. I don't have any issues with them. And actually yesterday, my tweet that got me into all this trouble and got me unfollowed was because I kind of made a little bit of a jibe at them when I said Harry Potter sucks, because we were talking about Zach Crack, and I was defending Mr. West Ashley. And that got me into a little bit of trouble, because then now it's like I guess they took that as me attacking them, but essentially all I was trying to do, I was just trying to defend Mr. West Ashley. And it just irritates me to see people that have been a part of the Snyder Cut movement for so long getting ostracized and getting attacked and getting made fun of and getting ridiculed, just because they don't happen to agree with every single viewpoint that certain people have. So so that's kind of where I am. And Rogues Gallery, you said, can't we all just hate Whedon and Johns together instead of each other? I completely agree. I think that that's exactly the point. I think we should all be able to get along. Think about it. We did something that was absolutely historic. We got the Snyder Cut released. This is beautiful. We did something that was amazing. I mean, as a collective group, love everybody in the group or hate them, whatever, we all contributed in our own way to making the Snyder Cut happen. And I think that's one of the things that is always missed on everybody. It's like, if anything, yeah, you're absolutely right. This should make us the closest fandom after that win. I agree completely. I mean, my God, everybody should be on the same page. We should all be happy. We should all be together. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't understand why there's so much division, why everybody is so divided, why people in all aspects of the fandom cannot connect. And I didn't understand that until yesterday. And you know what I've learned, and what I've realized, the bottom line for me is that the people that consider themselves to be the elite are looking down on everyone else. And that's why you have the division. It's not because nobody wants to get along. It's because these people over here think that they're special, and the rest of us are just not needed anymore because the cut's being released and certain people got to meet Zack Snyder, and the rest of us are all just like, oh, well, we don't need them anymore because we got what we wanted. So if they don't, kowtow to everything that we believe, everything that we're saying, if they don't subscribe to our company line, they're out of here. Okay. Well, I mean that, and that's what I mean. I look at this situation right now, and I say, huh? Oh, wow, Zodrider is live. Good, bro. Keep them coming. Hope you're good as well. Oh, Ray. I am doing great. I am doing great. And I am doing fantastic. I'm glad to be here. This was something I wanted to try out, and just try a rambling live YouTube video, because I'd never really done this before. I'll let you guys in on a little secret. Well, it won't be a secret for too much longer, but I am planning to. I'm planning in early November to actually launch my YouTube channel on the regular. Get into the StreamYard thing and start doing actual. And you start doing actual shows. I want to basically transition my Zodrider show from just being a PSN radio podcast to being a live stream that I do every week. That's pretty much. So in a way, this is kind of a test run for that. It just so happens to be because of the controversy I was involved in yesterday. Okay, Rogues Gallery. Well, I can guarantee as fact that these characters and this entire movement seems more to me than these elite assholes have these stories and characters. Yeah, Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The movement is bigger than any few people. And that's something any one of us, you know what the funny part is often think about is, what is the Snyder Cut movement? How is the Snyder Cut movement going to be remembered historically? When we're all dead and gone, and this movement is in the history books 100 years from now, what are people going to think? How are people going to look back at this time you got archives and archives of podcasts and YouTube videos and Twitter posts and all that? I mean, how is history going to look at the Snyder Cut movement? The whole point of the Justice League is to watch heroes come together in a bad world. Yes, yes, exactly. You know, I love you guys. You guys totally get it. You guys totally understand where I'm trying to go with all my rambling here. I think we all need to come together. I think we all need to be better and follow the examples that these heroes have set. Follow the examples of this beautiful tapestry that Zack Snyder has created for us all to enjoy these characters in this medium. Look, we accomplished something wonderful by putting on enough pressure and enough campaigns to get the Snyder Cut actually released. And I can honestly say that alone makes it all worth it, positive or negative. I mean, I don't. I think it's a beautiful thing. I think at this point, regardless, and like I said, regardless of how many Twitter followers I lose because I'm controversial and theatrical, I guess, I don't feel like it's a negative experience. I just want people to be able to disagree and still be civil and friendly towards each other at the end of the day. In other words, just because I may disagree with somebody doesn't automatically make me their enemy. And I think that that's something that people need to take a step back and look at. I mean, this this coalition of fandom is a beautiful thing, and it's accomplished great wonders, and I feel like it's going to accomplish more. But we also have to realize that, again, Zach Crack is out there, and as long as you steer clear of the Zach Crack and stay on point with the positives of the movement and the positives of what we're trying to do, and for the goals that are trying to be reached and are trying to be achieved, you know, everything should be fantastic. Okay, and Rogues Gallery says these characters basically raised me and taught me a lot of my morals, so I'm just always confused. The high and mighty fans can act so douche. Yeah, I am too. I think everybody. I don't know why we can't all get along. You know. I was hoping, and maybe this was me in my living in my fantasy world. I was really hoping that once the Snyder Cut was announced, that was going to change everything. You were going to see people who historically hated each other prior to the movie being released coming together and just being happy and joining up with each other and basically letting bygones be bygones and letting all the negative stuff fall under the bridge, and everybody was going to get along and be happy. And that's what I thought was going to happen. That's what I don't know if that's what I thought was going to happen. I mean, you got to be a realist, but I was hoping that was going to happen. I mean, it just makes me profoundly sad that things are still so divided. After we already know we're getting the Snyder Cut. That's my biggest gripe. We're actually getting the Snyder Cut, which is something that nobody out there, if they were blue check marks, thought we were ever going to get. Nobody had faith. Nobody believed. But you know what I've learned? You know what I've realized? That it's a will thing. It's like if you believe in something long enough, hard enough, and strong enough, and you focus on it with like single-minded determination, there's a possibility that, collectively you're going to make it happen. And that's exactly how the Snyder Cut ended up being released, because so many people believed that it was possible. So many people believed in the yeah, exactly. So many people, just, put their heart and souls and their belief, the power of mind over matter, just made it all happen. And I believe that can happen in the fandom as a whole if enough people want that. But I honestly don't think that people really want that. I think the people that are where they are and the ones that feel like they're above everyone else, I think those people don't want to have that, to have that connection. I don't think they want they want everybody to come together, because it takes away from them. Then it's not about them anymore. It's about everybody collectively as a whole. It's all about making money and getting into the history books, spoken like a true corporate. Yeah, that could be too. Because we know from history that history isn't always accurate representation of what actually happened. We know that. That's for sure. But I'm definitely over the whole thing as far as the negativity. I'm going to make it a mission of mine to try and maintain positivity at all times. I'm going to do my best to just focus on things positively, because my thing is, I didn't come into this movement wanting to be negative. I came into this movement wanting to get the movie and help Zack Snyder achieve what he's actually achieved now. I came in here. I've always been here for Zack. That's always been my thing. I've never wavered from that. My opinion has never changed. I've been a Zack Snyder fan since the beginning. I'm not somebody who came in from as a super fan of another big franchise and just kind of jumped on the bandwagon for Zack Snyder. I was always a Zack Snyder fan. I've loved Zack Snyder from day one. So, to me, I feel like the people that should be getting recognition, and I completely agree with Pilly on this, a lot of the people that deserve recognition are the people that have been fighting, that have been in the trenches, that are there, that have been fighting, that did all the heavy lifting and the hard work for the movement. And those are the ones that need to start getting some recognition. And I believe that it's only fair. You gotta spread it around. I will say, it's so nice to see Zack Snyder, interacting with fans on Vero. That's always a beautiful thing. And to see Zack Snyder pop up on certain, fan podcasts and different things. And of course, let's not take anything away from Justice Con. Justice Con was absolutely fantastic. It was a beautiful event. The Nerd Queens did a phenomenal job. Meg, everybody, it was fantastic. I was a part of the Crisis on Infinite streams with all the other YouTubers and podcasters who participated in that. I think that honestly, this movement has potential to transcend mere fandom and become something even bigger. And that's what I'm hoping for. I want it to become an entity. Whoa! What's going on, Hugo? Welcome. It's so good to see you. I love you guys. I love how you guys have just all decided to tune in, because this was so random. I just felt like I needed to vent a little bit and ramble. So I decided to do a lot. So I decided to do a live stream. I mean, it's I feel like if people, I see so many people do it, I'm like, hey, I could do it. I could do this. I could get on my couch and stream live for an hour or so and see where it goes. I mean, I don't know. I guess since I kind of have a chat here, and I got so many people here watching. I guess we can use this as a Q&A. Ask me anything. Go ahead. If you guys have questions for me, go ahead and ask me, and if I can answer them, I will. I'm sitting here just thinking about this whole situation, and and all the stuff that's transpired, and like I said, I'm beside myself trying to understand why we, as cliche as we can be, why we can't all just get along. I guess that's the question. That's the major question. Um, Sitting here trying to discern, why you're not allowed to disagree with people. Did you see the fight yesterday? Boxing? No, Dr. Fate, I did not. I did not. I didn't even know about it. I'm so out of the loop. I can't tell you like the last time I actually watch TV. Or watch like a sporting event. I do watch football from time to time, but Rogues Gallery. So like me, do you also have a feeling deep in your gut starting to build that the Ayer cut will be announced soon? I believe that. I believe that the Ayer cut is a done deal, that we're getting it. I think it's I think we're I think we've reached a boiling point with the Snyder verse. I think it's happened. Is that alcohol speaking? Where is that writer who's always got his crosshairs on Patty? No, this isn't alcohol. This is Kevin. This is a double shot energy Starbucks energy drink. No, I'm not. I'm not drinking alcohol. Number one, it's definitely too early for alcohol. It's 10:30 in the morning where I am. So, um, as far as having my crosshairs on Patty, I will tell you this. Uh, Patty Jenkins, I feel bad for her right now because the way her movie has been delayed. I feel so bad. I wish that they would actually just release her movie, either do it video on demand, or you know don't put it in theaters, put it on VOD like what Disney did with Mulan. And Warner, they should do that and actually show Disney how it's done. And because they'll make money off of Wonder Woman 84. But I feel like the longer they wait, and the more they push it back, it's going to lose all people are going to lose all interest in it. Getting the unseen Leto Joker stuff will complete my life quest. Oh my God. Oh, it's gonna be phenomenal. It's gonna be nice to see Jared Leto back as the Joker. And in my opinion, it's gonna be nice to see Jared Leto as the Joker, because I feel like we still haven't seen what Jared Leto's Joker actually was. What we got in the theatrical cut was a bunch of out of context clips that didn't really do the character justice. So I think we'll finally get to see what Jared Leto went through with his method acting. We'll get to see the reward of that character, of his work. I hope you keep the streaming coming, bro. I followed you time ago as well. Ray, I'm gonna make it a point to try to do this. What I want to do is what I'm thinking is to get myself in the habit of doing this. I think I'm gonna try to do a live stream like this once, at least once a week. I'm gonna try to get in the habit of doing this so that I can get comfortable, because I want to start hosting Four Nerds live streams. I really do. But I felt like in order for me to do that, I needed to just jump in the water and try to do a live stream and see what's going on. Dark side will fly. It's possible. I wouldn't put anything past past Zack Snyder. I know he's going to give us and with Ray Porter, who is a phenomenal who's doing a phenomenal job as the voice actor. I personally cannot wait for Darkseid. Darkseid is one of the highlights that I'm looking forward to with the Snyder Cut. I think we're all gonna be pleasantly surprised. Imagine oh my God, yes. Zack Snyder's not messing around. We're gonna get something beautiful. And that's just, if the trailer is any indication, I don't know how anybody can be a DC Comics fan and not be excited for the Snyder Cut. That's another thing I don't understand. We got divisions amongst fandom, but then you got so many people out there who claim to be claim to be DC Comics fans, but they're against the Snyder Cut, and I've never been able to understand that either. Clearly Zack Snyder cares about these characters. Clearly this movie, this movie or miniseries is going to be something amazing. Zod, you got your name from Man of Steel or way back? Actually, I came up with Zod Rider a long time ago, but before I started streaming, I'm sort of one thing that people may not know about me is I'm a bit of a struggling writer. I've been writing a novel for the last 10 years. And I'm still trying to finish the novel because I'm kind of a perfectionist when it comes to this stuff. So I'm still trying to finish it and get it to my liking so I can self-publish it. And I came up with Zod Rider as a pen name. And basically that just kind of carried with me when I started doing the Zod Rider Show podcast back in 2012. I decided I would use Zod Rider as my name moving forward when it comes to anything I do as far as videos or writing or podcasts or anything like that. Crap, all the positivity made me break character. Apocalypse is supposed to resemble hell. Can't wait. Yes, definitely. Supergirl with Darkseid. I think so. I wouldn't be surprised. I think, and this is the thing, when we think about Justice League and we think about all the characters that were removed from Justice League, it wouldn't surprise me one bit to see Supergirl, with Darkseid in this movie. It would not shock me. It would not shock me. I'm completely ready to accept that, this movie is literally going to blow our minds. I will say, in spite of all the negativity, this is a great time to be a DC fan. I can't think of a time in my life when I was more excited for a DC movie. Well, actually, I can't say that because I was just as excited for BVS when that came out, and I was really hyped up. I was hyped up so much for BVS that I think it. But I feel like this. Of course, obviously, Justice League has surpassed BVS in terms of levels of hype, obviously because of what we went through. But yeah, generally I'm trying to maintain my positivity, and I know in spite of everything, it's so funny for me to be here with you guys right now telling you all of this when I actually was this close to deleting my Twitter account yesterday after all that negativity. Oh God. Oh, I can't wait. And ironically, Kevin, I actually am looking forward to see what Patty Jenkins does with Wonder Woman 84. I really am. I think, it gets a lot of flack, but I would like to see. I would like to see what the movie's going to be about. I definitely am. I'm interested. I just hope that they don't push the movie. They don't end up pushing the movie back too far, because I'm not one of those people who actually believes the movie is going to come into theaters in December. I think it's going to actually be a. I think it's gonna. I think it's gonna. We won't see it if they're holding off for theaters. I don't think we'll see it until sometime next year. But I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm wrong about a lot of things, so I don't. I don't. I don't. It wouldn't surprise. That wouldn't surprise me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong here. Thoughts on Spider-Man 3? I'm excited. I'm a Spider-Man fan. I like Spider-Man. Um, I'm hoping for the best. I mean, I definitely, especially if they do decide to go, if the rumors are true about them going with a multiverse kind of route for that as well. That'd be awesome. I'd like to see Tobey Maguire come back as Spider-Man. I'd like to see Andrew Garfield. Um, I think, okay, let's see. What'd you say, Rogues Gallery? I think that trailer shot of Cyborg in the graveyard is him digging up the third mother box. His dad was obliterated. Superman is elsewhere, and he doesn't really have a reason to dig up his mother. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think maybe he's digging up. I think he's digging up the mother box too. I tend to believe that as well, because I think the scene that we got between Barry and Cyborg was not in the theatrical cut. I don't think that was what we were supposed to get. I don't think that was a Zack Snyder idea. I think that was something that Joss inserted, for his own morbid purposes. I don't know. Yeah, but what are you guys in the chat most excited for? What do you guys want to see? Oh yeah, the theatrical digging was horrible. Yeah, yeah, it was definitely not a Snyder thing. It's like it becomes increasingly more uh it becomes increasingly more obvious as time goes on just how much of that movie was manipulated. And I think like the final tally, I think Fabian Wagner, the cinematographer, had said there was something like less than 10% of Zach's movie was in the theatrical cut. So that says it all right there. Release the Jenkins third act. Yeah, yeah, Hugo. That's funny. That's funny that you say that. But Patty Jenkins, for all her shadiness in the past, I think would have Zack Snyder to thank if she actually gets to release her director's cut of Wonder Woman at some point. Because we know that Patty Jenkins filmed her actual third act. It was lagging. Oh, it's just great to see all you guys here. I feel so humbled that all of you have decided to jump on and support me on my first rambling live video. That's amazing. I'm blown away by it. I appreciate this so much. I just thought I was going to be talking to myself for an hour. I'm most excited to see what Momoa Aquaman was originally supposed. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I am too. Jason Momoa's character definitely deserved better. I think it. I feel like maybe they might have had to water him down a little bit for Aquaman because they didn't have the plans. They weren't using Snyder's planned arc at that point. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the jaded drunkard Aquaman that we were initially supposed to get. It should be good. It should be good. Yeah, it's But I don't know. I've gotten to the point where I'm like so fed up with social media, Twitter and I all but abandoned my Facebook page. I go on Facebook every now and then, and because I've got family and friends that are on there. That if I go on Facebook and if I don't go on Facebook, I'll never know what's going on with these people, because that's like really the only way to get in contact with certain people is if you go on Facebook. But I'm not really a big fan of social media anymore. I kind of wish there was a way I could do everything that I do and not have to access social media, but that's just not the case. Let's see. Rose Gallery. Yeah, I can only imagine Zach was going to have him absolutely play the. Yeah. Jamie Foxx Electro is going to tear some. Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because Jamie Foxx is a great actor. And I think that if he's given a good story, he could really take the Electro character to the next level. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing him come back as like the main villain, to face off against all three Spider-Men. I think that that would be pretty epic. It would be pretty dope. Um, yeah, it's pretty amazing. And it's not, and like I said, it's not just, I guess it's not just a great time to be a DC fan. It's just a great time to be a fan of these franchises in general. But DC just shines bright like a beacon of hope because we're all finally getting what we really want. We've got a lot of stuff to look forward to. So that's why I say I'm just trying to maintain positivity, you know. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. If you have all those villains, although I don't know if they're necessarily going to dump all those villains into one movie. Maybe they will, because if we remember, the Spider-Man franchise is notorious for dumping too many villains into one movie. I think are you guys excited for Morbius the Living Vampire? We know virtually nothing about it. We got that. What did we get? We got that one. Did we get that one trailer? I uh I don't know. I want to see. Um, I'm of course, most looking forward to the Snyder Cut, um, and then of course the Ayer Cut, and if it all comes to pass with Ben Affleck as an HBO Max solo series, I think that would be great. Um, and again, Jared Leto, fantastic. It's going to be great to finally get to see what his actual character is supposed to be. Um, we I kind of feel like we're gonna be so blown away by Jared Leto's version of the Joker that it's gonna be like night and day, almost like with how it is the Snyder Cut and Justice League, how it's like we know that the movie's gonna be so different by comparison. Um, I don't. I think to see Leto actually get to act and actually get to give us a menacing Joker, I think we're going to be in for a treat. Okay, and Rogues Gallery says also it's not DC related, but did you happen to see Evan Peters is on the cast for WandaVision? It's just interesting. No, actually, I know next to nothing about WandaVision. I'm so out of the loop when it comes to Marvel. Anything Marvel that's not like Spider-Man, I'm almost completely out of the loop. I haven't even watched, to be honest with you. I'll let you guys in on a little secret. I haven't even watched the WandaVision trailer. I don't know anything about that. It would almost be like, if I do end up seeing WandaVision, I'm going to be going in completely blind because I don't know anything about it. Um, Morbius is dealing with Doctor Strange type of magic, which is crazy. A leak said the final fight will be a giant version of Morbius versus another giant vampire. Okay. Well, whatever they want to do, I guess. Um, let's see. Me neither. It's just weird to really talk. Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't know anything about WandaVision or any of the planned Marvel spin-offs. Really, it's kind of like with me. I checked out with Marvel a long time ago. I kind of, for me, it was like I saw Infinity War and Endgame in theaters, and for me, it was just like, okay, I actually liked Infinity War the most out of those two, and then I was just like, okay, I'm done. I don't care what happens from here. I think Marvel kind of blew their load early by, I shouldn't say early because they did have 10 years worth of movies, but it's just for that story. I think there were so many other Marvel stories that they could have told to lead up to that. I think I always believed that Endgame should be something that they did at the very, very end when they planned to like completely end the Marvel universe and either reboot or not do any more movies. I don't think Endgame is something that you do at this point, and now you're trying to continue on from there. I think that's where they made their mistake. I kind of think that because there's so many other stories, comic book wise, that they could have touched upon. And this is what I love about DC and Snyder. Snyder actually has a planned arc. He's giving us the Justice League. He's giving us things that are going to lead into other things. And there's so many directions that you can go with DC. And Marvel just, I don't know. They did like their ultimate story already. What more can you do with Marvel? Mm. Let's see. That explains why I haven't heard anyone talk about it. I don't watch a single part. Yeah, I don't either. I don't watch any Marvel channels. Marvel. It's like to me, like I said, I like everyone else seen all the movies, and to me, to this day, the best thing for me, in my opinion, to ever come out of Marvel was the Daredevil TV show from Netflix. I think that was their to me, that was their highlight. Everything else is just kind of like, just lackluster entertainment. You can watch it, you can enjoy it for what it is, but after that, my biggest issue with the Marvel Cinematic Universe is that I don't feel like the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies have any replay value. I went and seen, it's like I seen all these movies in theaters, and I left the theaters feeling like, oh, okay, that was a fun movie. That was entertaining. But then I never had any desire to go back and rewatch any of the movies. Like I can't tell you the number of times I've watched Man of Steel, BVS, Wonder Woman, all these movies. I can't tell you. It's like you just, I can't go back. Even Winter Soldier, as great of a movie as I think Winter Soldier is, it's a great movie. I've only watched it once. I seen it in theaters with my father. I never went back and watched it on video. I never had any desire to do that. I think I just got to the point where, it was, I think that's one of the ways that Marvel excels is that they put out a great theatrical experience. Almost, and that's why, like when Martin Scorsese said that Marvel is like theme parks, I have to agree, because that's what it is. When you go to a theme park, what do you think? You think, oh my God, that was an excellent experience. That was fun. That was fun for the entire family. We had a great time. Great. But then what happens? You move on with your life. You do other things. You don't keep thinking about it again and again and again. It's not something that you want to relive, unless you until the next one, until the next summer when you go to the amusement park again. And it's the same thing with every Marvel movie. It's like returning to the amusement park. You go back to the amusement park. Get on a couple of great rides, and you're like, okay, that was cool. That was entertaining. But it's not nothing that yeah. Even Winter Soldier, like I say, as good of a Marvel movie as it was, it's not even close to being as good as anything DC has put out. Really, honestly, it's their best movie to date, as far as I'm concerned. But it still doesn't compare to anything to anything DC. I would rather watch. I'm going to be honest. As much as I don't like the movie Birds of Prey, I'd rather watch Birds of Prey than watch a lot of the MCU stuff that's out there. And that's just being a DC fan. The first Blade is the most rewatchable Marvel ever. Oh yeah, I wasn't. I'm not talking about. I wasn't talking about any Marvel movies that were made prior to the cinematic universe. I was just talking about the MCU. But if you want to go back and talk a little bit about movies that came before, I can agree with you. I absolutely love the first Blade. I think that movie, that movie was ahead of its time. I mean, seeing that the blood in the nightclub scene, oh my goodness, that movie was fantastic. And I'm one of those people too. I don't hate the X-Men movies. I thought they did a respectable job with some of those movies as well. I think that they were but my all-time favorite Marvel movie of all time is this one right here. Roger Corman's Fantastic Four. This movie right here is to me, is the greatest Marvel movie ever put to film, because it is campy, it is goofy, it retains the Marvel sense of humor of like the 1960s Fantastic Four comic books. It was filmed in it came out in the 90s, but I believe that it didn't actually come out, but it was it actually looks, if you watch it, because it's such a low budget movie, it looks like it was filmed in the 1970s when they filmed the Bill Bixby Incredible Hulk movie. It's Bill Bixby Incredible Hulk TV series, excuse me. But to me, this will always be my favorite Marvel movie of all time, because I feel like it captures the Fantastic Four perfectly, and they've never been able to do a successful Fantastic Four movie since. I mean, and that movie wasn't even considered successful because it never got a theatrical release. People didn't even really get to see it. You have to buy it but I think it was officially released through a third party and with the rights from Marvel. I will say I'm still mad they didn't call the underground villain Mole Man. Missed a dope opportunity. Yeah, they should have. Doctor Doom in that movie is wonderful. He's great. I love the whole. I mean, he actually comes off in that movie the way I feel like Doctor Doom would be if he were actually, if he were to come to life from the comic book panels. I feel bad that they never. Not only do I feel bad that movie didn't really amount to anything. I feel bad because that was the start of something I would have liked to have seen future films. Yeah, they just called him the jeweler. Yeah. Yeah. I maybe you know what it might have been, and I when I think about that, I think the reason why they made him just so generic and decided to call him the jeweler, maybe it was because they didn't have the rights to Mole Man. Maybe it has to have something to do with rights because he was essentially Mole Man, but just under a different name. It's a semi-official copy. I'll tell you how I got it. I I had ordered the documentary that came out about the Fantastic Four. It was called Doomed: The Untold Story of the Fantastic Four. They have a website where you can buy that official documentary. And on that same page where you can buy that official documentary, you can also buy the Blu-ray copy of the Fantastic Four movie. So that's about as official as you're going to get unless Disney decides to actually remaster it somehow and put it out, which I don't think they're ever going to do because the urban legend is that the Fantastic Four got the copies, the actual theatrical prints for the movie blew up in a studio fire, or they were deliberately thrown into the fire. So, okay, let's see. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Deadpool in the MCU going to be a thing to behold. Yeah, I don't know. I hope that Deadpool is used properly. I don't know if they'll be able to do it. I'm a little bit nervous about them trying to do Deadpool because he's a he was doing so well by himself that inserting him into the kid friendly MCU might not be the best thing. Um, Okay, and Rogues Gallery says, "Well, I'll tell you this. I wish I could see the Trank cut. That would be good, but see, Trank himself has disowned it altogether. He's actually gone on record as saying that he doesn't want his director's cut of the Fantastic Four to ever be released. That's how bitter he is about the whole thing. He's not, I mean, so if the director himself is not, it would be like if Zack Snyder was not on board for the Snyder Cut. There'd be no movement because if the director himself doesn't want the movie, then you're doesn't want to release it and doesn't care, then you're not going to be motivated. One of the main reasons why the Snyder Cut happened was because Zack Snyder himself was on board the entire time. So we would have to do if we ever want to see the Josh Trank version of Fantastic Four, we'd probably have to get Josh Trank himself to be fully on board and behind the idea of releasing it. Let's see. I know it's never unfortunate. I was so excited for it. I love the tone. Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think it's funny because the Josh Trank Fantastic Four is a lot like I kind of look at it in the same way I look at, like, say, David Ayer's Suicide Squad. Like, if you watch the Suicide Squad, the original trailers for Suicide Squad, there's no way when you watch those trailers that it's going to be a bad movie. You're automatically going into the movie theater pumped because you're like, this looks like it's going to be great. And it was kind of the same way with those trailers for Fantastic Four. Trank obviously had a vision. He obviously had a direction that he wanted to take the characters in the franchise. And again, he got screwed. Yeah, Hugo, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You're not. Yeah, you're not going to get anything. You're not going to get anything like that. Trank is against it. Trank is kind of has the attitude about it, like the way Alan Moore is about the comic book industry now. He doesn't want anything to do with it. So it's like saying, well, gee, how can we change Josh Trank's mind to get him to get him to want to release his cut of, because I will say this, if Josh Trank were to put out a tweet or to put out some kind of a statement where he says, I want to put out my cut of Fantastic Four, that's all he would have to say. And he would have fans rallying behind him, because we know that whatever story that he had in mind is probably a hell of a lot better than what we ultimately got, which is why nobody really remembers the theatrical Fantastic Four. There's a rumor saying Deadpool 3 is going to be released on Hulu since Disney owns it and shows. I wouldn't be surprised about that. Honestly, I mean Hulu, yeah, when you have Disney having controlling stock in two franchises, in two streaming services, yeah, that's really the best way for Disney to do that, because they can, this way they can keep Disney Plus sort of squeaky clean, and they got Hulu to, Hulu to dirty it up a little bit, I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of disenchanted with Hulu. I go on Hulu and I get confused. I start looking at all the options. And I'm just like, I don't care. Hulu's more of like for TV shows more than anything else. It's kind of just like, for current runs of TV shows, and it's just kind of like, I don't know. It's like I got other things to do. I'm not really a big Hulu fan. I know some people who really love Hulu. I know my parents are really big Hulu fans. And I've kind of gotten away. I've kind of veered away from Netflix. I really don't watch too much on Netflix these days. For me, my favorite streaming services are HBO Max and Amazon Prime. I find them to be the most balanced in terms of the kind of content that I enjoy. You think the rumor of them diving into the Robin Joker backstory with Batfleck on HBO Max, it's like my dream and does. Oh, my God. If they were to do a live action Death in the Family storyline, are you kidding me? That has potential to be the greatest Batman, one of the greatest Batman stories ever put to film. I would be so hyped. My God, Ben Affleck's Batman. Wow. That would be, listen, I love Death in the Family. I love that story. I love the Blu-ray disc of the interactive movie, the interactive thing that they put out. I love that. That, to me, that's the kind of thing I would be sold out. That's one of the reasons why I actually really hope that Ben Affleck gets his an actual series. Don't get me wrong, it would be nice if he gets a movie, whatever he gets, but if he gets a series where they could flush it out and tell multiple Batman storylines, I think we would be lucky. Oh yeah. That storyline is, you know what? I want to believe that. I totally do. And I am optimistic as hell that that's something that we're going to actually get. It seems like a no-brainer. That, and then the original story that Ben Affleck wanted to do with Deathstroke. I don't think it gets any better. Honestly, for me, Ben Affleck is Batman. He's the quintessential version of the character. For me, he's Batman right out of the pages of the comic books. Every other iteration to me is just like another interpretation. But I feel like Ben Affleck really embodies the character for me. He's definitely my favorite, and I just hope that they use him to his fullest potential. Yeah, just as a concept, exactly. Just as a concept, it doesn't get any better. When I look at the Matt Reeves Batman, and I look at Robert Pattinson and all of that, I think there's potential for that to be a good movie, but I don't see it as something that is is, truly transcending for the character with the way that Affleck just owns the role. That I think that's my biggest issue with them, even greenlighting that Pattinson Batman thing in the first place, because you've got somebody who clearly embodies the role, and we barely got a chance to see what that Batman had to offer. I mean, I could see, okay, you give Affleck a chance to actually delve into the Batman mythology and actually give us decent stories. I mean, as a series, I mean, it'll be the best thing. It'll be the best thing ever made. It'll be unbelievable. I mean, there's so much about Batman that we haven't seen on film. There's so many stories out there that are just fantastic. Yeah, it does. It does. Initially I was, until I saw the trailer, I was dead set against the Matt Reeves Batman. I didn't want to have nothing to do with it. I saw the trailer, and now I'm like, okay, yeah, I see potential. I see why people are excited, and yeah, it looks like it's going to be interesting. It looks like it's going to have its quirks, and it's going to have some quality elements to it. But I don't think that it's necessarily going to. I don't think that Pattinson is going to surpass Ben Affleck as far as I'm concerned. I don't think that Ben Affleck and Robert Pattinson are even in the same league as far as Batman. I just don't see it. I think that Matt Reeves Batman is going to be it's going to have a nice indie film feel to it. It's going to be a nice grounded in reality kind of thing, maybe along the lines of Nolan, with, grounded in realism and sort of, telling its own little detective story. I think I think it has potential, and I'm not, and that's why I say I can't really say anything negative about it because I don't know enough. But I just think that it could be good. I don't know if I believe, that Gotham City PD TV show on HBO Max that's supposed to take place in Matt Reeves' Batman universe. I don't really know if I think that that's actually going to be a thing. I see it as a Nolan Batman. Yeah, absolutely. They're like, when you get somebody in the role who does it as well as Ben Affleck, you realize that you've once it's like there's some people that feel the same way about Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man. Once you see somebody who for you represents what that character is jumping out of the pages of the comic book, I don't care who plays the role later on or what other stories you get. The difference is you start to realize that for you, those are just stories. Those are just essentially like Elseworlds, and the stories that you're getting. So in other words, I kind of look at Ben Affleck like for me, because Ben Affleck embodies the role, I look at Ben Affleck like Batman Prime, and all the other Batmen who have played the role are just kind of other parts of the multiverse as the character. And I see Robert Pattinson in the same way, that he's just another actor getting to tell a different Batman story. And there's nothing wrong with that, and that's great. But for me, Ben Affleck is kind of definitive. I really don't, I kind of, after seeing Ben Affleck, take the role literally by the throat and just make it his altogether out of pure domination, I just can't see anybody else surpassing that. And I'm amazed at the number of people that I see on social media that after they saw that the Batman trailer, they were just like, "Oh, Pattinson's going to take it. He's going to be better than Affleck." I just don't see that. I don't see that happening. regardless of how good this movie is. Why do you think Zach changed the cape to gray on the black suit as it's not gray in Man of Steel? I don't know. Creative creative genius, I guess. Affleck feels like a bit grittier Batman the Animated Series brought to the big screen. I agree. I agree. For me, Batman the Animated Series is the defining Batman for animation. Kevin Conroy, for so many years, Kevin Conroy was the voice that I would hear in my head as Batman when I would read DC Comics. Whenever Batman would come up, I would hear Kevin Conroy's voice. I would hear, that's not the answer I want. And Kevin Conroy just has that, it just embodies Batman, through voice. And yeah, Ben Affleck kind of took the mantle from Kevin Conroy for me as far as embodying the character. He like stepped it up in live action, and so yeah, it's like for like forever. I'm like every time I read. So now when I read Batman comics, I think of Ben Affleck as Batman. But prior to BVS, it was always Kevin Conroy's voice. Okay, see you later, Hugo. I will definitely be doing this again. Thank you for stopping by. I'm just humbled that you guys are all here. I love this. I love seeing this kind of support just for me deciding to do a random morning stream. Well, it's morning for me. I got up and just decided to jump on here and vent and ramble for a few minutes, and I've been here with you guys now for almost an hour and a half. It's really really awesome. Yeah, yeah. Conroy really really took over the character, in terms of in other forms of media. I mean, when you talk about the animated series and then you talk about the Arkham games and different things, it's just awesome. Well, they will. Ray, I plan to host four nerds. I'm gonna get with Dawson and Ryan and Anthony, and I'm gonna ask them to teach me the ins and outs of StreamYard so that I can start hosting four nerds episodes. That's the plan. But I felt like I needed to jump on and do a live stream myself just to get comfortable and see how it all is, and see where I can go, and because yeah, I mean, I'm like, I gotta jump into the whole YouTube thing sometime. I can't be staying on the outside doing podcasts, just doing podcasts and doing the four nerds. Doing the four nerds. Those guys have really inspired me. I mean, I feel so humbled just to know those guys and just to be around so many beautiful people. And it's hard not to be motivated, to make the jump into the medium, especially with you guys. You guys are such a loyal family. You guys are always around, and it's just great to see you guys. It's great to be in the chat with you guys and to see you guys on every stream. I mean, it's just wonderful, and I feel great of just being a part of this amazing community. So thank you to everyone, to you guys for being here and making it all such a wonderful experience. Um, and I agree. I think Deadpool is going to, if he does come, I agree. I think Hulu would probably be the best place for him. Now, do you guys think that they would do a series, or do you think they're going to do a Deadpool movie, another movie? Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. I agree. I agree with that too. So Kevin Conroy's voice fits Batman better in certain comic book iterations, but I don't know. It's hard. It's hard for me now because now whenever, even every time I read, even when anytime I read a Batman comic book, I just read a Batman comic book not too long ago, and I heard Ben Affleck's voice when I read it. So I don't know. I think it's just a psychological thing. I think it's just however you set yourself up, you know, with a frame of mind, who you feel Batman is at that time. Yeah. Yeah. And again, it's nice that we've had so many different people play Batman, you know. It's great that we live in a time that we've got such iconic characters being brought to life in so many different ways. It's my pleasure. It's so great to be here with you guys. Rogues Gallery. I I have no, it's so, I feel so, again, I feel so humble just being here, getting an outpouring of support like this. I like Ryan Reynolds' pitch to direct Deadpool. Yeah, I always reading the Deadpool kills the Marvel universe. Those are some great comic book stories because there's always these unique and creative ways that Deadpool kills different Marvel characters, and I think that would be an awesome what if kind of a movie. I think they should do like a mini series, have him kill off everybody because that would give him an excuse to bring everybody back. You know, he could he could stab Hawkeye in the eye. He could I don't know, maybe shove a rocket up Iron Man's butt. I don't know. There's so many different things that you could see. You could see crazy things you could see Deadpool doing, if they actually were to do something like that. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind that at all. I mean, Deadpool was one of the highlights of Marvel for me anyway. I mean, would you guys want to see Ryan? See that's why I have such a hard time with with all these rumors that were circulating about Ryan Reynolds being in the Snyder Cut because I can't see Ryan Reynolds going back to that role. I mean, by all accounts, he absolutely hated the experience of being the Green Lantern. So why would he come back? I mean, he literally had it as a joke in one of the Deadpool movies where he had Deadpool go back and kill Ryan Reynolds when he got the script for Green Lantern. So if that doesn't tell you right there how he actually feels about it, I don't know what does. So I don't know. Um, yeah. hmm Yeah, I mean Ryan Reynolds has the ability to play so many different great characters. So, um, you know, I guess I don't know. I don't know if we'd ever get to see him as. I don't know if we'd ever get to see him again. We'll ever get to see him again in a DC role. But hey, thank you, Rogues Gallery. I appreciate it. Again, I love those guys. I love the four nerds. They're like my brothers. I really, I'm with them. I'm with the four nerds so much that on so many different streams, it's like it's definitely become a family now. It's like we're all family now. It's beautiful. Yeah, but that's the thing. I'm just this whole thing, for the most part has been very, very positive. And I try not to, that's why I try not to dwell on the negative. I try to, I try to keep my head up no matter what happens. And I try to just stay happy. Yeah, yeah, the panels are amazing. We've and it's nonstop too. It's like there's always something. At least one. It feels to me at least once a day that there's always something going on. And I always like to joke, you're always going to see at least two of the four nerds somewhere on some stream somewhere doing something. Superman Easter egg in the Batman. Well, I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted because when I watch Matt Reeves' trailer, I think of a world that's kind of self-contained, where there's only Batman, where there is no other superhero. So I would be shocked to see Superman being referenced in Matt Reeves. I really would. I think it would be kind of jarring, but that's just based off of the first trailer. I would have to see the movie, to know. Maybe the movie will turn out to be completely different. I mean, do you guys want to see a Superman Easter egg in the Batman? I mean, and if so, I mean, I think they've kind of nailed it down that Henry Cavill is going to be Superman for the foreseeable future. So if Superman were to be referenced in the Batman and at some point were to be, maybe if this turns out to be a trilogy and Superman pops up, would he be, would it be Henry Cavill? I don't know. Do you think COVID-19 will be a part of the story? I would say no, but I mean, it's only a matter of time before these superhero movies start adapting the real world. It'd be interesting. I think I'll just be a background Halloween costume right now, at least. But I don't introduce super. Yeah, that could be like maybe in Matt Reeves' Batman, Superman is a comic book character. So it being a Halloween costume could, would make sense. That would be an interesting Easter egg. Or you see like they go past a shop and you see like a small newsstand and you see like a Superman comic book on the newsstand. Now that would be an Easter egg. I feel that they could do elements, but if they just go right with calling it COVID, it would turn the movie into something else. Date it maybe. Yeah, that's another thing too. Because I mean, let's hope that we're not in this pandemic forever. Let's hope that it's eventually going to be gone. So yeah, putting it in movies might be a quick and easy way to date yourself. And I don't think that's something that people want to do. I think you're gonna. I did see a movie that I don't know if you guys have seen it from the Asylum called Corona Zombies. That's actually a movie that came out this year. It took like a month for them to shoot the movie, and it came out right within like in the early months of the pandemic. They put out this movie where people they got the virus and they became flesh-eating zombies, and yeah. Well, Dr. Fate, I think if we get a reference to Superman, if Superman is actually going to pop up in the foreseeable future for any of these movies, it would be Henry Cavill, right? Because we know Henry Cavill is the Superman for the foreseeable future. So it would depend on how long how long it takes in between movies. But given the fact that the Batman may not come out until 2022, 2023, I mean, that trilogy may not be out in full until about 2030. So Lord only knows who will be Superman by then. I mean that's a while away yet. But I would like to see. But I don't know. Do you guys like the underwear on the outside? I don't know. At some point, I could see them making a movie because our society is all about nostalgia. So at some point, I could see them making a Superman movie where they do like a CGI version of Christopher Reeve Superman and bring him back to cash in on the nostalgia for uh, that everybody loves. Everybody, because everybody, oh, that's not my Superman. Christopher Reeve is the only Superman. So at some point, I could see that. I could see them doing that. I could see them just, basically resurrecting Christopher Reeve for a movie where they think it's appropriate. Why Batman had an altercation with the cops? Well, maybe like all Batman stories, Batman starts out at odds with the police. Doesn't he always start out at odds with the police until the police um, realize who and what he is, and then he gets accepted by Gordon, and then becomes an ally. I think it was the 1960s Batman TV show with Adam West, where Batman was actually deputized by the police. Yeah, I could just see them do. I'm saying I could just see them doing that at some point to cash in on that nostalgia. I don't think that they would ever, like I say, you know, I'm thinking, and this is just my view, that maybe this is something that they would do after Henry Cavill is completely done with the role. I think for the foreseeable future, it'll be Henry Cavill, but at some point, they might decide, because we're getting to the point where resurrecting dead actors and bringing them back to be in movies is not a problem anymore. The technology exists where you can do that. You can resurrect any actor and bring them to life, put them on the big screen again, and you've got so it can happen. Um, you could do an alternate Superman. I remember this is yeah, yeah, an alternate Superman. Yeah, sure. Again, DC is all about the multiverse. So yeah, yeah. Listen, yeah. I just think that if they do that, they're gonna just do it out of nostalgia. They're gonna do it to appeal to the people that never accepted Henry Cavill as Superman. There's so many people that complain about, the Snyderverse. Oh, he's not Superman, da da da. But listen, Superman, yeah, Henry Cavill for me has kind of embodied the role the same way that Ben Affleck has embodied the role of Batman. So for me, that's my Batman and Superman. I wouldn't. Yeah, I just think that the studio would do that for money, because they know that they could cash in on that if they brought in they did like a Christopher Reeve revival kind of a thing. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember seeing some pictures online of manipulations where they actually put Christopher Reeve in like the Henry Cavill Superman suit. Those were pretty interesting. Um, yeah, yeah. In the multiverse, what makes the multiverse such a wonderful thing is that the multiverse allows for them to do anything, literally. I mean, you can have seven Supermen on screen at one time, and it can be justifiable because you have a multiverse. That's why I love the idea of the Flash movie having so many different Batman in it. I think that that's great because it gives everybody a chance to, no matter who you are, if you're alive today, you can say, oh wow, I remember Batman 89. I wouldn't be surprised if they figure out a way to somehow have Adam West in there. Have like a little nod to the 1960s universe in Flashpoint, or the Flash movie. I wouldn't be surprised. And Superboy, who's to say? Who's to say you won't see Superboy at some point? I mean, it's didn't they use Superboy on that what's that, on that TV show on DC Universe? Isn't it Titans? Didn't they bring Superboy into that? Is he on that show? Connor, I don't know. I fell off of Titans after the first season. I really, haven't followed up, but I remember seeing Superboy. Is he on that show? I don't. I think we are going to get CW Flash. To be honest, they set that up with that Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover thing. So I think we will get the CW Flash in the movie. And a matter of fact, I might be in the minority here, but I think he's going to have a bigger role in the Flash movie than what we actually know. And that's just my opinion. I think he's actually going to have a substantial role in that movie because he's very, very popular as the Flash. So they'll exploit that. Because when you think about all these different concepts, multiverse wise, um, you know, some characters. I'm hoping that this Flash movie actually delves in a little bit deeper and not only gives us, multiple versions of Batman, Superman, whatever the big major characters, but I'm hoping we get to see a few smaller characters in there too. Characters that are like I'd love to see, like maybe the Question pop up, or some lesser known characters that we haven't seen in live action before. Okay, Rogues Gallery. A year ago, if someone had told you all these Batmen would be back in one film, we'd all laugh to death. Yeah, yeah, because we didn't know that DC was embracing the multiverse on the level that they are. But because they're embracing the multiverse, you know, oh yeah, yeah, guaranteed. I Not only do I think we're seeing him, like I said, I think it's going to be a substantial role. And when I say substantial, I think he's going to have quite a bit of screen time. I mean, I don't think they're gonna top bill him right up there with Ezra Miller, but I think he'll have a huge role in this movie. I think it's going to be, not only is it going to be a huge role, I think it's going to be a pivotal role, and it's going to be to the point where he's actually going to be uh, responsible for doing something very, very heroic in the movie. But that's just my gut feeling that I'm getting based off of the idea of the multiverse and the Flash being such an amazing character dealing with time travel and stuff like that. Oh, absolutely. You see, I think there's three things that's going to happen when I look at it like this. I think the Flash movie, the Snyder Cut, and the potential of a Ben Affleck HBO Max series as going to silence the critics and change a lot of people's mind about Zack Snyder's vision for the DCEU. I think you're going to have a lot of Snyder haters that are going to be jumping ship and are going to be fans by the time it's all said and done, because really they're trying to bridge the gap. DC wants nothing more than for fandom to be united. So that's the whole reason they're doing this. They're thinking if they can get everybody together, if they can give us a movie that has multiple Batmen, then give us a movie, have all these different flashes and whatever. Now you can make everybody happy. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. I'm 100%. I'm 100% sure, and I could be wrong, but I'm 100% sure that both flashes will be together. You'll have all kinds of scenes between them. And it's like that little scene with Ezra Miller that in the Crisis on Infinite Earths. That was just the beginning. That was just like a little appetizer to tell you, yes, we are going to put these two flashes together on the big screen. It's going to be huge, and you guys have no idea what you're going to be in store for. I guarantee. I'm not sitting here like I would be willing to bet on that, because I wouldn't be surprised if you see Grant Gustin in the movie for a good half of the film. He's probably will be in it. He's gonna have a huge role. I don't think you can marginalize him at all, because he is so popular. And I also think we're going to see the Flash from the Wesley Shipp. We're going to see we're going to get to see the 1990s Flash. I think we're going to see him again. I mean, and I don't know. You guys think that we're going to see Michael Fassbender as Reverse Flash? You think? I've got this idea in my head. Zeverfett, has been doing all these manipulations of, the flashes, and he did a picture where you got Michael Fassbender as Reverse Flash, and it put it in my head. I could totally see it. I could totally see it happening. I was hoping we could get a horror verse Flash take. Imagine what he could do. Yeah, sure. I wouldn't put it past them in this Flash movie, because they've got such a big opportunity to not only introduce the multiverse, but exploit the multiverse for future movies. I could totally see them taking it and being like, okay, we're gonna show you all the different possibilities. I wouldn't be surprised if they took every single DC movie that they've ever released and shown us a glimpse from each universe. So you'll see something from the Nolan universe. You'll see something from. I wouldn't even be surprised if you see something in there from the Pattinson Batman universe too. I would not be surprised. That's how big the multiverse concept is. We're going to see things that we've never seen before. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's all possible. That's the thing. It's all possible with the multiverse. The multiverse is the only thing that gives them creative license to do anything like this. If it wasn't a multiverse, they couldn't do it. Oh yeah. Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. I think you're going to see all the Flashes interact. I think you're going to see not only are we going to see all the Flashes interact, but you'll probably have several scenes with the multiple Batmen. I think we're going to see Nicolas Cage pop in as Superman as well. Uh, and like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if they somehow CG'd Christopher Reeve's Superman in there somewhere. Wally West, Bart Allen, sure. I mean, there's so much potential. I mean, you're gonna anything is possible. You'll probably I don't know. It'd be cool to have a little Constantine scene on there where you got Keanu Reeves talking with Matt Ryan, the the two Constantines interacting. There's so much that they could do, that they could justify and get away with under the guise of the multiverse. And this is the one time where they wouldn't. I don't even think they would get accused of being gimmicky, because they're exploiting something that they created, that they're known for. They're finally taking advantage of the full potential of their properties. So I wouldn't be opposed to seeing multiple versions of any character. You know, I'd like to even see a little scene with old Linda Carter as Wonder Woman pop up as like Amazon. The Linda Carter Wonder Woman has gone on to become like the Amazonian queen or something. There's so much, there's so much that they can explore. It's just gonna be great. Like I said, it's a great time to be a fan. I mean, you can't. It doesn't get much more. This doesn't get much more exciting. I feel like we're on like sensory overload with so much great content coming out. That's why it's hard to complain about any of it. It's hard to sit there and be like, oh, well, this isn't going to work, that isn't going to work. You can't really complain, because there's going to be something in there for everybody. So even if nothing else, this Flash movie is going to be one of those things where anybody who was ever, I feel like they're trying to appeal to anybody who has never been a DC fan, or anybody who's ever been a DC fan and is still alive. Like they want to appeal to everybody. So there'll be something in there for everybody. Kind of like the old Crisis on Infinite Earths comic book. When that comic book came out, that comic book was designed to wipe out the old universes, and not only wipe them out, but pay homage to all of them, and to give old and new readers something to latch on to be invested in the story. And I feel like they're going to do the same thing. They're going to do the same thing here with this movie. This movie is going to be that driving force that's going to get everybody amped up, no matter what side of the spectrum you are on DC. CW, they got to respect CW, because CW has a fan base. So if you have Grant Gustin in there as TV Flash on the big screen, that's only going to make him more popular. Oh my God. Yeah, I could see that happening too. Because Rogues Gallery, the Watchmen, they're exploiting the hell out of Watchmen too. So why not insert Dr. Manhattan in there somewhere? Sure. I mean, again, this is the only time you can do that, because you're where you will have an excuse, because you're introducing the multiverse. I mean, it wouldn't make sense if you're not acknowledging a multiverse. You can't do anything like this. But because it's a multiverse, that gives them license for anything. I mean, it's ridiculous to think about the vast amount of possibilities that exist as a result of this. Wow, I can't believe, guys, that I've been that I've been droning on now for almost 2 hours, and you guys have been here with me this entire time. It's amazing. I appreciate it. I really do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, like I said, make it a point to um, try to do this at least once a week. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do this every Sunday morning. Maybe every Sunday morning I'll pop up and just come on YouTube and do this, and then to kind of get myself going. And Simon, hello, welcome. Do you think the Flash movie can compete with Avengers Endgame since it's having Flashpoint elements? Yes, absolutely. I'm going to say this right now. The Flash movie has potential to be the biggest movie of all time biggest comic book movie of all time in terms of sheer amount of characters and justification for those characters being there. That's, it's like, I think Zack Snyder's Justice League is going to be the best superhero movie ever made. But I also think that Flash has potential to pull so many people in who are on the outside. As far as DC fandom goes. Oh my God, yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, they got a good director. They got a good director, Andy Machete. He's a great director. He'll do it justice. I you know I don't know about you guys, but I think it's all about getting the right talent for the right movie. Um, obviously we're all huge Zack Snyder fans, and he's our guy, and we love everything that he does. But I will say that when it comes to you know hiring multiple good talent to do, DC. It seems to me that DC is kind of getting their act together, and it's only going to get better from here. That's what I think. Yeah, yeah. So what do you guys think? You guys think I should do this? Think I should do this every Sunday morning? I should jump on here. Would you guys be down for that? You guys aren't bored to death? Because that's the last thing I want to do. I don't want to come out here and bore everybody to death and be like, oh, oh, that's Zod again. He's droning on about multiple topics, and he's not really going anywhere. He's just talking about everything, and that's kind of what I did. What I'm doing this morning, just talking about everything. Started off talking about negative, and I'm glad I could turn a negative into a positive. Um, so but yeah, you guys will be seeing more of me. I think I'll do that. I think I can manage one, every Sunday morning. I could jump on here, and then I like I said, I think in early November I'll start doing actual regular YouTube content, and maybe even hosting Four Nerds episodes. We'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to it. I see all the potential of different directions that I could go here. So, but I want to thank you all for joining me. All of you, this has been fantastic. Uh, Rogues Gallery, Ray, Dr. Fate, Hugo, all you guys. I really, Simon, I appreciate it. This has been absolutely fantastic. Um, I'm like I said, I'm incredibly humbled just by this kind of show of support. It's awesome. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's what I'll do then. You guys convince me. I'll do this. I'll do this every Sunday morning. I'll come on here and I'll just give my thoughts, and you guys can join me. I'll try to be consistent about it, and just jump on, about this time Sunday morning, and we'll see what we can accomplish. It should be fun. Hashtag 4nerds. Yes. Love you guys. Thank you again. Thank you so much for joining me. This was a lot of fun. Have a great day, guys. We'll see you soon.